no longer send them to the.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular board meeting for October 20th at Western Lehigh School District. We will begin with opening exercises, pledge the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please take your seats. And Stacy, please call the roll.
John Cassiano. Willard Delaker.
Here.
Joseph Platzinger.
Here.
Todd Hernandez.
Here.
Todd Leiser. Rosemary Lister. Here. Alan Rex.
Here.
Rachel Sheffler. Here. James Warfield.
Here. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, which we have in front of us, and I would entertain a motion. There are no changes. Motion by Mr. Platzinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Sheffler. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we have an agenda. Welcome again to all who are with us this evening. And before we open courtesy of floor, I'd like to do what we've done in the last meeting, and that is to ask our solicitor, Attorney Moyer, to just comment about the any legal updates regarding the master order that we all know about.
Thank you, Mr. Delaker. Good night. Good evening. I wish it was good night, right? Just to provide some updates for all of you as to where some of the challenges to the masking order stands. So currently pending, if you recall, there's two cases in the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania. One was filed by Senator Jake Corman, another senator joined that, a couple of parents, private schools, and one school district. That case was actually orally argued today before the Commonwealth Court. So at this point, it's in the court's hands and they will be rendering a decision. When that is coming, I have no idea. There is the second case, which was filed also in the Commonwealth Court, that involved several parents from various school districts, and they submitted briefs on that on September 24th. There was a pre-hearing conference held on September 28th, and no further action has been taken. Nothing has been scheduled in that case. On Monday, a lawsuit was filed against Delaware Valley School District and school board members. On September 28th, the school board voted to pass a motion allowing parents to permit their children to opt out of the masking order. This opt-out did not require a doctor's note. And as a result of that, some parents in the school district sued the school district on Monday, looking to enjoin the district from permitting the opt-out without a doctor's note. And then just lastly, there is a challenge that I've talked about coming out of the legislature, specifically the health committee challenging the healthcare committee, challenging the health secretary authority. And the committee was anticipated to meet this week and request a determination from the legislature.
And what committee was that? Legislative?
Yes, the health committee out of the legislature is challenging how the secretary came out with the order. Essentially, there's a process that she would have had to have gone through, and they're saying she didn't. So as a result of that, the order is not valid.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So with that, at this time, I would offer courtesy of floor for anyone who is with us this evening that would like to address the board. Please rise and state your name and address for the record and your comments. And there will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting to address the board as well. Anybody like to address it? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. We have minutes in front of us, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patsy. Second by Dr. Warfield. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion carried. Next item are recognition and presentations. I think we have two retirements to recognize this evening. Are you going to do that?
For both.
Brooks,
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Delaker and board. We do have two unfortunate retirements. Good for them, but bad for the transportation department that I'm going to read tonight. First one, no particular order, we're going to speak about is Gail Vogels, in grateful recognition of 10 years of service to the Northwestern Lehigh School District. Whereas Ms. Vogels has completed more than 10 years of distinguished black and gold service as a bus driver at Northwestern Lehigh School District. Whereas Ms. Vogels understood the needs of each of our students, transported them safely to school and home each day. Whereas Ms. Vogels provided exceptional dedication to her profession and was greatly respected by her fellow staff members. Whereas Ms. Vogels routinely went above and beyond to ensure the safety of all her students during fair and inclement weather. Whereas Ms. Vogels always helped students learn and understand the importance of safety when riding in a school bus. Whereas Ms. Vogels understood the meaning of school community and supported students, parents, and staff at Northwestern Lehigh School District. Whereas Ms. Vogels leaves a transportation employee knowing that she provided compassion, support, safety, professionalism, kindness, and tiger pride. Therefore, be it resolved, the School Board of Directors of Northwestern Lehigh School District tenders Gail Vogels a sincere thanks and appreciation of the board for her commitment and dedication on behalf of our school and Northwestern family. Be it resolved further that this resolution be made permanent, part of the record of this public meeting, October 20th, 2001. I do believe Gail couldn't be with us because she's traveling the country to see her family. I think they were in Utah. Yes, she didn't take long, yes. The second one here is Patricia McGonigal, and she was known by the fellow drivers as Pat. In grateful recognition of 19 years of service to the Northwestern Lehigh School District. Whereas Ms. McGonigal has completed 19 years of distinguished black and gold service as a bus driver at Northwestern Lehigh School District. Whereas Ms. McGonigal understood the needs of each of her students, transported them safely to school and home each day. Whereas Ms. McGonigal provided exceptional dedication to her profession and was greatly respected by her fellow staff members. Whereas Ms. McGonigal routinely went above and beyond to ensure the safety of all students during fair and inclement weather. Ms. McGonigal always helped students learn and understand the importance of safety when riding a school bus. Whereas Ms. McGonigal understood the meaning of school community and supported students, parents, and staff at Northwestern Lehigh School District. Whereas Ms. McGonigal leads as a transportation employee knowing that she provided compassion, support, safety, professionalism, kindness, and tiger pride. Therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Directors of Northwestern Lehigh School District tenders Patricia McGonigal the sincere thanks and appreciation of the board for her commitment and dedication on behalf of our schools and the Northwestern family. Be it resolved further that this resolution be made part of the record of public meeting October 20th, 2021. And Ms. McGonigal, I believe, is a district resident who is just enjoying her retirement. They were both key in helping me come along, so it's sad to see them go. They're going to be sorely missed. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. And congratulations on your retirement. Okay, next on the agenda is the board president's report. I don't have anything tonight other than a couple of things that have been in the news that I'd like just to bring us all up to date with and a comment on the first one. And that is a Senate Education Committee advanced a House bill that was previously approved. And that would be to mandate schools to put all of their curriculum online, make it accessible to parents and the public to review the curriculum, to look at it, and also the books that go along with the curriculum delivery. And this any changes to curriculum would be online for 30 days until it's approved. The reason I'm bringing this up is here's a House bill that is going through to mandate some schools that aren't doing it to post their curriculum online. Northwestern Lehigh has been posting curriculum publicly online ever since I can remember, and I got on the board in '86. So I think, for decades, we have been hosting our curriculum online. And also, along with posting the curriculum so that it's visible to all. And Dr. Warfield, I'm going to ask you for a comment, so get ready. You were hired here how many years ago as our curriculum director? I think that was your first job here
Yeah.
before you were middle school principal. But
37 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm not that old.
you're not 37.
It was 10 when we started.
So in addition to already having that visibility and of posting our curriculum online and showing the alignment with all the state standards and all the other requirements that the curriculums have to adhere to, we have a curriculum console, which is made up of public, it's made up of parents and students and board members and business owners who may have a experience in what the curriculum is all about to get on this board and to create the curriculum and build it to what think we need in this school district. So the curriculum is homegrown. It does meet the state standards that we are required to meet, but that is our curriculum council that's been doing this for decades as well. And then we have a review board that reviews the curriculum. I think we're on a 3-year cycle on most of them. And so every 3 years it's reviewed to make sure that it's up to date and it deals with all the issues that we have to teach our children about the subject at hand. And again, it's online for everyone to review, and it's a pretty detailed listing of all the curriculum for all the grades, for all the classes that we offer here at Northwestern Lehigh. So it just was interesting to me to see that there is a law going through the House in Pennsylvania and the Senate to make this mandatory when Northwestern Lehigh has been doing this for decades. Second item I just wanted to comment about is the fact that the Pennsylvania School Boards Association has pulled out of their support and the relationship with the National School Boards Association after there was a request by the National School Boards Association to President Biden to call in the FBI and the Attorney General and designate parents who have gone to mostly these lobby county, I believe Virginia and California school districts, and label them as domestic terrorists. So the Pennsylvania School Board Association withdrew their support and their membership with the National School Board Association. I was glad to see that happen. I wrote him a letter thanking him for doing that. So that's been in the news, but I don't think that the fact that Pennsylvania pulled out of the National School Board Association because of the reasons that I mentioned was made so well known to the public. And that's my report for this evening. Any comments or questions? Dr. Warfield, on the curriculum, anything I missed that you could offer?
No, I was looking at that bill and I sent Mrs. Stitzel an email yesterday saying, part of this, we've been doing it for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
So I actually went on and looked at how it looks now, and it's far more expensive than it was initially. So I think we're covered. If we're not, we can't imagine what we would do. I just hope it doesn't go to a point where the state government tries to intrude in lesson plans, and the point at which it becomes ridiculous in terms of trying to manage how teachers manage the curriculum in the classroom. So I hope doesn't go there. I think our teachers are supervised for fidelity to the curriculum, that which is written, that which is taught, and that which is tested. So I think we should have some strong faith that what we see on that website is exactly what's going on.
And I think that as school directors, the two most important jobs we have as school directors are curriculum and policy. We develop the curriculum with the community, and we develop policy for the administrators to run the operation in the district. So thank you, Dr. Warfield. And that's my report.
We only have one report tonight. October is National Principals Month, so our principals are all online, but a huge thank you to them for being total rock stars at the beginning of this school year. And I think part of this goes for our entire administrative team. You know, certainly the rock star for navigating the challenges at the beginning of this school year. All of you know, we have had some support staff challenges in terms of vacancies that they have navigated pretty much every single day, and have certainly been a great team for our district, our kids, and our staff. So huge thank you to them. I know they're online and you'll hear from them a little bit later, but that is the only item I have unless anyone has any questions.
Okay. Questions, comments? Is it a week or a month? National School Board Week,
National Principals Month.
Principal Month.
Mhm.
Congratulations. We'll talk about that later. Okay, under personnel, next item on the agenda, or two items under personnel. Mrs. Matiko, please take us through those items.
I will. Thank you, Mr. Delacour. As you mentioned, we have two items. 201 is our usual personnel action items. There are 32 items for your approval this evening. I would like to call your attention to another retirement, which is Mary Ann Metzger, part-time instructional assistant. She'll be retiring after 19 years of service, and her retirement is December of this year. So you add that to the additional 29 years that we had earlier, there's another 48 years of service to our district. The other item number 2.02, are recruitment and retention incentives. As Mrs. Holman said, well, we are no different than other employers facing a nationwide employee shortage. We currently have 13 support staff positions that we continue to recruit for. We have been asking for your support for some recruitment and retention initiatives, and there are 7 of them listed under item 2.02. These are positive changes for our support staff, and it's effective with the next pay period beginning October 24th. I do ask for your approval on both items this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Matiko. And I think we can take these two items together as consent action. And would entertain a motion for 201 and 2.02.
Make a motion for 201 and 202.
Motion by Mr. Fatsinger, second by Mr. Schiffer. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
under curriculum and building issues, we have to approve our application or approve the administration to apply for the ARP ESSR set aside funding and for homeless children and youth funding. Would you like to make a comment on that? We read this at the workshop, but just for the public verification.
So there is a document attached that describes the different set aside funding, both for SEL, which is social emotional learning. It's up on the screen, after school programs, summer programs, and homeless programs. We do need to apply for those funds in order to receive them. And Mrs. Stitzel was at the last meeting to request to do so. Mrs. Stitzel, do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Okay, this is just an approval to apply for this grants that are listed, and I would entertain a motion to.
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Lister,
Second.
second by Mr. Hernandez. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Now, under policy, we have a first reading for two policies, security personnel, and the second policy is public complaints. Dr. Sosnowiec, any comments about those?
No comments, sir. I haven't received no feedback.
Okay. And there is no action required for that. That'll be on our agenda for the month of November for approval. And the second item under policy is second reading for the, let's see, that's the Title I parent and family engagement policy that we have, which really affects the Northwestern Lehigh Elementary School, which is a Title I school. And any comments received about that policy that's been on for 30 days?
No, sir, the same.
Okay, so we will take action on the 4.02, which is policy 918.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Rex,
Second.
second by Mr. Fatsinger. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. There are no policies to rescind, and under operations, the board's indulgence, I would like to take 5.01, the co-assist agreement, which was vetted at the workshop. 5.02, the contract for lead testing, which was vetted at the workshop. 5.03, the Kissel O'Brien Fire Protection Agreement, also vetted at the workshop, and the 5.04, which is the, again, a grant application for food service equipment, which was also discussed at the workshop. So I would take those in one motion, 5.01 through including 5.04.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patsy. Second by Dr. Warfield. Comments or questions? Hearing no comments or questions, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next, under district finances, we have the approval of the general obligation bond series 2017 refinancing, and that was also discussed at the workshop with our PFM, Scott Scherer, and I think Kevin Reed from our attorneys was also present at the workshop. This was to refinance a $5.7 million loan, I believe it was, that we're going to save over $1 million on.
This is actually to pay the
This,
cost.
and this is, but the motion tonight is just to take the costs to do that out of our operating budget rather than part of the savings that we're going to get by refinancing. So this is good news for the district. This is a huge savings, $1 million savings in the refinancing of this general bond from 2017 for one of our building projects. Again, that was vetted in a workshop, and I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Scheffler,
Second.
second by Mr. Rex. Are there any comments or questions about the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item under district finances are the reports. Reports were reviewed at the workshop, and we need to take action to accept those reports.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fatsinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Scheffler. Are there any comments or questions about the reports? Pretty straightforward. Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. And last item is our approval of the bills for the month preceding month. And I would entertain a motion to approve the bills.
Motion to approve the bills.
Motion by Mr. Riggs, second by Mrs. Scheffler.
Second.
Comments or questions about the bills? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Number 7 on the agenda, other reports. First is the enrollment report. Mrs. Holman, is there anything you'd like to point out on the enrollment report?
There is not, except for, this is the month where we bring our non-public number, so you will see that filled in on the report for this month, and as you know, that Stacy gathers that from all of our non-public schools in the month of October, and then it certainly carries. This is the enrollment reports. You can see the month over month change in each building and or program. Do you have any questions? I will certainly take that.
Any questions about the enrollment report? Okay, no action required on this. This is just information. And next item is foundation report. Mrs. Stitzel, are you still with us? The foundation representative.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I do have a few things to report tonight. After a one-year hiatus, I'm happy to report that the foundation is again receiving applications from teachers for their mini grant program this year. Our teachers, I know, are very excited about this, and they plan to have a banner year of funding all of these mini grants that we hope the teachers apply for. Also, they recently held their annual clay shoot. And lastly, a few board member seats on the foundation are open, and they are hoping to have some people contact them for interest to fill them over the next few months. So if anyone is interested, please take a look at their website for more information.
Good. Thank you, Mrs. Stitzel. Any questions for Mrs. Stitzel? And thank you again for representing us with that great foundation that we have to support the school district. Next item on the agenda or committee reports, first from the intermediate unit. Dr. Warfield, anything to report?
Yes, sir. Mr. Delaker, we met on Monday evening and we had presentations from the administration about the youth forestry camp. I believe I've discussed this once before during the time, but for people who are not familiar with it, there is a juvenile detention center up in Carbon County in Hickory Run State Forest where there are at any given time a number of adjudicated youngsters there. I think right now it's about 48, but the IU provides their educational program for that, both in terms of diploma orientation, GED, credit recovery, and for those young folks there who already have diplomas, they do a vocational technical program. So it's another one of those multifaceted roles of the IU that people don't know about. It's kind of hidden in the back, but certainly a quality service for trying to get folks who have been off the tracks back on them and going in the right direction. So another very significant business taken Monday night was that the board approved contract extensions for Dr. Ive, the executive director, for 4 years to a term of 2027. And for Mrs. Kim Talpin, the assistant to the executive director, for a 5-year term to 2028. So, we've talked a lot about this musical chairs that's going on in terms of leadership position and key roles in our educational facilities locally. And I think it's a very positive thing that the leadership of that very complex organization is now stabilized and it can ride through all this continuing turmoil that's going on as a result of the COVID. So I think the board is very pleased to be able to renew their contracts and to know that that leadership will stay in place down there. And that's it.
Thank you. Next, under LCTI, I ask both of you first, Mr. Fatzinger, our current representative at LCTI.
The meeting is next week. I was unable to attend last meeting. LCTI is having a time capsule, and I was looking for the email, and unfortunately I can't find it. I think it is a 50th time capsule that they'll be opening
yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, it was yesterday.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to talk
All
about
right.
it.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah.
The only other thing that stuck out was I reached out to Dr. Rushton because I noticed there's a lot of closures and issues they're having with, yeah. And I think they're doing, the way they're going about it, I think he's doing a great job. So I just wanted to reach out to him and let him know.
Yeah, I was going to ask Alan Rex to comment about the 25th or the 50th anniversary of the LCTI. That was yesterday, and Mrs. Holman and I and Mrs. Holman and Mr. Rex and I were there to attend that. So,
Yes, you got some.
previous board member.
We brought some pictures. If we can get them up there quick. So we had a beautiful day. It was yesterday afternoon, 1 o'clock. It was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of LCTI in conjunction with the opening of the 25-year time capsule that was suspiciously enough put in when Bill was chairman of the JOC. So after a couple speeches, first was Mr. Van Norman, who is a Northwestern School District resident as well. Next picture, that's Julia Romali, Northwestern full day student in marketing. She spoke. There was 2 student speakers, her and another student from Whitehall. I did a very nice job. Told us about her experience there, why she loves it, and all the kind of things that go along with the LCTI experience. It was a far shot. There's the picture of Bill when he was president of the JOC. So he's checking if he has that tie yet. We're not sure. But we think it may be in the back of the closet. Next. There was a picture of us with Julia. Like I said, she was an excellent speaker, DECA vice president. She's in marketing. Yep, that's she's the, like I said, vice president of DECA. She lives over Heidelberg Township way. A little more on the DECA. Some of the clubs, LCTI's clubs, Skills USA, DECA, those all the clubs that the students can participate in. Another little known fact, or probably everybody else knows it, but Bob Noggle, Northwestern's own Bob Noggle, was the director when the school opened in 1972. There were 2 directors before him, but they failed ship before the school opened. So he was the director when it opened.
Bob celebrates his 90th birthday.
90th birthday, wow.
On December 3rd.
Yeah, Bob was the, yep, he was the one when they opened the door there. The Deputy Secretary of Labor spoke. She had a couple of good words and telling us about the need for skilled labor. And the quote that stuck with me, she said, if you do a repetitive job that doesn't involve thinking, your job will be replaced. So she said the importance for having skills, the importance of having a trade or some other kind of vocation is utterly important. So it was a good day. It was a beautiful afternoon. It was a tad windy, but other than that, I thought it went off without a hitch. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And LTCI, I promised to have Dr. Kistler, our representative here, and I failed to reach out to her, so we'll put her on for next month to come and update us on the LTCI happenings. And lastly,
There is a report from LTCI.
there is a report on our devices from LTCI as well. And last is recognition.
Nothing new to report. I didn't report much on the United in the Country at the last meeting, but it was a success. We estimate that we had over 4,000 people attend, had very positive comments on the fireworks. I think they're one of the best in the valley. If you've never seen them, you should get out there and see them next year's event. But everything was positive, fields are good. So that's about it, business as usual.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez, and the time you spend with the Recreation Commission. Okay, next time on the agenda is old business. There is nothing on the agenda for old business. Any board member have any old business they'd like to bring up this time? Then we'll move to new business. And there was one item under new business, and that is a donation of gloves. Any donation made to the school has to be approved by the board. So these are to accept a donation of disposable gloves from the Weissenberg Volunteer Fire Company and Amazon. Everything else. We talked about this a little bit at the workshop. So I would entertain a motion to receive the donation. Motion by Mrs. Lister.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rex. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is once again courtesy of the floor. At this time, we would offer the floor to anyone who would like to address the board this evening. Yes, sir. Please rise and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Jesse Maurer, 8536 Moore Lane, Vogelsville. I think it would be a disservice to children who do not fully understand the experiences that they're undergoing right now if I weren't to beat the dead horse on the masking policy. And so I'm not going to ask you for you to defy the order or shift anything in that regards. But I would just beg of board members and anybody involved in administration to do their due diligence over the coming months and be proactive as we build data. This time is going on here, and we have children in masks for longer periods of time. This is unprecedented. This has never been experienced before by human beings. And I think it's really serious that we invest into understanding psychological, emotional, physical, relational impacts, short-term and long-term, on a child, on their future life, on their current life. So whenever we're having the opportunity as a board to maybe make a decision as a community and not feel strapped by governments, you know, that day may come again, hopefully this year. I just hope that it's not forgotten and we don't just sit back as adults, because this is a lot easier for us because we're already battered by the world, but they're a lot more raw. And I'm shaking not because I'm nervous to talk, but I'm shaking because I think it's really serious. It's really, really serious and we don't understand it. I don't understand it, none of us understand it. But I think it's safe to say it could be a lot worse, the consequences, than we're all thinking about. So it should be a weighty situation that people all in this room, as leaders of the community, carry a burden of knowing the weight of what these children might have to bear as they head into the world as kids, as friends, as husbands, as wives. It's serious, man. It's really serious. So don't just brush it under and say, well, our hands are tied. Be ready. Be ready for when the day comes. And maybe you change that health policy, no matter what the numbers. You say, you know what? We're not doing doctor's notes. We're not doing that. You're a parent. You have an understanding of your child. I don't care what the data is saying about COVID right now. That parent's going to make a decision for their child when that time comes. So please be ready to reevaluate and keep the weight on because it's intense and it's serious.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Rest of the board at this time.
Hi, Aurelia Lundquist, 6355 Game Preserve Road.
Would you say that slower so we can grab it?
Sure, Aurelia Lundquist, good luck with the spelling. 6355 Game Preserve Road. So I'm with Jesse. I think everybody knows where I stand on the masks, not gonna beat a dead horse there. And I'm happy to be here and listen to the lawyer's update every meeting because I always learn something new and I'm excited to see what comes out of the court hearing today. I just wanted to kind of take it a step further than maybe Jesse did and say, I think we as a community and you as a board are sometimes have to be reactive instead of proactive right now with everything that's going on. And I'll admit, a lot of the information I get is either from Google or social media, and we can't always rely on that. So my ask is of the board is if we could somehow consider how we can keep the community involved. So we as community members can be more proactive instead of reactive and not come here to try to get you to change your mind, but come here before decisions are made to try to voice our opinions. So Mr. Delker, how you started the meeting with the updates and kind of what's going on in the bills and the Senate, I think that's fantastic to know that our curriculum's already on the website. That's something we might be able to proactively share with the community. So there's not that angst and that frustration and that anxiety going on at home that they don't know that that's already something we do. And what does that change mean for them? What does that change mean for their kids? As well as, you know, the information from the White House today on children vaccines that might be rolled out possibly in schools. As I said, I think there's frustrations, there's angst, there's emotions in the community. So anything we can do to kind of proactively help the community handle that emotion and then not come to the board meetings with all of that anger or emotion and unleash on you, I think would just be beneficial for everybody and really help make sure everybody's getting information the right way instead of just passing along articles on social media. So that would be my ask.
Thank you, Mrs. Lindquist. Anyone else like to address the board? Okay.
Actually, I do have one last thing here. Dan Funk, 7297 Adams Street in Foley. Could we ask the board to update the community? Even though it's online, not a lot of people go online to look up their data. But what the current COVID cases are, what last week's cases are, what are we seeing to justify what we're talking about? And that's putting our kids through, no matter what is pushed down upon us, what are our numbers showing us? And I'd like to add that to the agenda if we could in the meeting, if that's possible. I'd like the community to know where we stand. You know, whether you want to do it per school as a whole, you know, what those numbers are. That's all I ask.
Thank you, Mr. Funk. I'm going to ask Mrs. Holman just to review quickly the process that they use daily to work with our Lehigh Valley Health Network and in monitoring the cases and evaluating what we should be doing to mitigate this virus. Mrs. Holman?
Sure. So, Mr. Frank, you're right, it is on the website, but as of 10/19, we had last year 13 positive cases this time. This year we have 36 positive cases as of 10/19. Quarantines is typically something we also report on. This time last year, same thing, 10/19, we had 26 last year. That date this year, we've had 195 students exposed to quarantine, whether that be in school or out of school that were quarantined. So all of that available data, the board does get a very specific report every single Friday and a report that gives Lehigh County numbers, that gives information on positivities, case count, as well as our local Northwestern data. Every single Friday they get that, as well as the positive cases. They also get an update each Friday, the board does, on the number of exemption requests that were granted, and that comes to them every Friday for their request.
Okay,
And this is on the website? How would
Oh,
you-
the number of quarantines is not, but the number of positivities is.
how would you-
We can start the top, but it's not.
Okay.
Dan Funk again, 7297 Adams Street in Chipotle. I'd like to maybe dive a little deeper. When you say exposures, is that exposure to positive cases, or is that cases that were tested positive, or, you know, is
Which
What
number are
was-
you talking about, the positive or the quarantine?
the quarantine, is the quarantine based off of a
based
number
off
of
this-
positive cases and or just exposure?
Based off the CDC recommendation for those who need to be quarantined.
Okay, so
It could be in school or it could be out of school.
I understand that. So it could be a exposure within a positive case or a potential case. So it's just not a positive case. Per the CDC, when quarantine happens, it happens when you are potentially exposed and or exposed with a positive case, or results until you get a negative case given back for that person.
It's
So-
exposure to a positive case, whether it be a household case or a close contact. In
And
either
that's- and that's
case,
numbers you're reporting? on
Yes.
Positive cases?
the
the quarantine.
positive case number
Yes.
is how many students or staff members that have been in buildings that have been diagnosed as positive.
Okay.
The quarantine is those that have been in quarantine as a result of their close or household contact with a positive case,
Okay, thank you for that.
In or out of school.
in or out of school.
Thank you, Mrs. Holman. Thank you, Mr. Funk. And I would
That's
just
not on
like
the
to,
website then.
Quarantines are not, but the positivity cases are. By school, by week. They are on the COVID site, yep.
and I just want to mention again that this plan that our administrators put together over a year ago, based on the experience that they gained while we were all on online learning and trying to address this new thing called COVID with the best expert advice that we could get from our Lehigh Valley Health Network, and also with doctors who are parents of children in our district to work with Dr. Sosnovic and Mrs. Holman to come up with this plan that we have to mitigate this and try to, and now the goal, the goal, the priority right now is to keep our classrooms open 5 days a week for all of our children. And that's why we have to still monitor these things and do what we are being advised to do by the people who we trust, the families, the doctors who are parents, and the Lehigh Valley Health Network, who we have been partnering with for the last couple of years to try to do what's best and safest for our kids. We all talk about wanting to go back to education again instead of the medical decisions and legal decisions that we are faced with here in the last year and a half, 2 years. And hopefully someday we'll be back to focusing on education a lot more than we've been able to do in the last COVID years that we've been here.
Yes, Mr. Duncan, I'd also like to add, in addition to the 5 days, although that's important, you're asking about 2 pieces of data, which have importance. Certainly case counts and quarantines have importance, but we also look at age and distribution and severity and what we're seeing in terms of contact, whether or not it's spreading in school, out of school, all of those things to make decisions. And going back to Mr. Mauer's point, we were ready because we were ready week 1 with a plan that's still in our plan should that time come when this district or this board makes the decision to go back to something else. I would also tell you that plan probably has us in the very same place as we are right now with mask mandates due to the numbers. And so we have a tiered plan we had in place for week 1, which still exists. And unless we make tweaks to it, will be what we will eventually go back to unless the board decides otherwise. And so I would say we are ready and we are looking at all of that data to make the very best decision we can.
Okay, anyone else? Before we move on. Okay, yes, ma'am.
To go. But I'm Camille Bernard from 7007 Mayhem Road, Hernandez.
Could you speak up a little bit?
Yes, and I guess we've decided now, because of all of this, it never crossed our minds before, except we were a little bit interested in surplus seasons, we looked into that. But because of the lack of parents being able to make choices, we decided to now, unfortunately, withdraw our students so we can go to a place where they will allow parents to make choices.
Okay.
So we can best.
Thank you for telling us that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
This is real quick. Rayleigh Kubat, 5877 Willie's Corner Road. I want to give kudos to the state of Pennsylvania for pulling out of the National School Board after all that goings on in Virginia. So thank you for writing that letter.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no, yes,
I
ma'am.
didn't fill out one of those papers, but I just have a question about the COVID information that they put on. Do they actually put the recovery rates also, the percentage of people who actually recovered from it on that also?
Yeah, if you look at the Department of Health website, there, all of that data is on there. How many?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we did it for the school district. I'm sorry.
We do some data for the district, but I don't have that level of detail for all of our community residents.
Okay, the only reason why I ask is I know like the CDC is going to do the broad spectrum from birth to death.
Mhm.
And the school district is because I'm thinking more the children, just who's affected, how they like how many of them recovered, that it could possibly not be as big of an issue for children. That it enough to do all this, just curious.
Yeah, some of our Northwestern data is community adults as well, so like we can, it's community spread, so
Okay.
yes, it is, but it's not available through us. So I don't have that level of data or recovery for people that live in Northwestern Lincoln City.
I just want to.
Just cases, but it is available.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for coming and sticking it out with us this evening, and we'll move on to the next item on the agenda is communications from the secretary. Mrs. Eisenhart, do you have anything? Okay. So John Cassiano is not with us this evening, so we'll move into administrative and building sharing. And Dr. Sisnova, could you please go through the administrators?
Absolutely. Mr. Gibler.
Good evening, members of the board. I just want to take a moment and share about a experience I had in the classroom this week. Mr. Dinner's class and his technology education students. A lot of brave architects in there. I witnessed students building, I should say designing, building, and then testing bridge models. And I think the record for weight sustained on one of those models was 73 pounds. So big kudos to those students. All the students did exceptionally well, and it was a great experience for myself to simply have stumbled upon it as I was walking through the halls. So big kudos to Mr. Dinda and his technology education students.
Mrs. Pulley.
Good evening. I just wanted to share that we had a safety day at the beginning of this month. It was great to have this event back at our school. The kids definitely loved all the presentations, and it was great to have so many volunteers from our community at our school. I definitely want to extend a huge thank you to everyone that took the time to make Safety Day such a great experience for the kids. We also have our Fall Fun Festival coming up at the end of the month. So we're glad to have some of our usual events back in business this year. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Mrs. Stitzel,
I have nothing further this evening.
Mrs. Burlett,
Yes, as Mrs. Pulley shared, we are excited to have events back in our building. Our fall festival will be held this Friday. We have volunteers from Weisenberg Fire Company coming to do a program for our students in kindergarten through 3rd grade on October 27th. And our safety day is being held on November 5th. So we have many community volunteers coming in to share information with our students. So that is what's going on. We have a very exciting couple of weeks coming up. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Mr. Zimmerman,
Thank you, Dr. Sosnovic. We had a very busy week for us in Northwestern Lehigh in the athletic department. Our field hockey teams and soccer, both our soccer teams and our cross-country team participated in their league championships this week. Field hockey unfortunately fell short in the quarterfinals. Our boys and girls soccer teams are both playing in the semifinals tomorrow night at Northern Lehigh. That's 5 and 7 o'clock. Their opponents, both of their opponents is Moravian Academy. I got back from DeSales a short time ago and happy to report that our boys cross-country team are the Colonial League regular season and league meet champions. We had several of our guys place in the top 10 and medal. Those are all posted on social media. And Angelina Klein placed, I believe it was 4th. I believe it was 4th in the girls race. Again, I posted that online. There's some cool pictures there with that. Girls volleyball also qualified for districts. Our marching band did a phenomenal job at the Emmaus Parade the other night. I got a lot of calls and emails regarding how well they performed, and they had a really good time with that. So kudos to Mrs. Klein and her staff. And we actually held fall drama rehearsals, not rehearsals, auditions this week. So we're getting back to some type of normalcy, and the kids are doing a really nice job doing it in a safe manner, and I'm really proud to be back. So thank you for your support in that. Thank you.
Mrs. Edmonds,
Hi, I don't have anything further. Thank you.
Mrs. Stauffenberg,
Good evening. Just one thing to report. This Friday, our 8th grade will be visiting LCTI for a tour of the building. So we are looking forward to that, and our 8th graders are looking forward to visiting LCTI. Thank you.
Mrs. Yadish,
Good evening. We also will be taking our 9th grade and some interested 10th grade students to LCTI next Friday for a tour of the building and the programs. And in addition, we also had a PSAT session. So while we're also bringing all of our extracurriculars back, we brought academics back to the high school with a PSAT session this past weekend run by our counselors. Thank you.
Nothing further, thank you.
Rose,
I'd just like to take a moment and identify and thank all the support staff who are keeping us going and diligently, and equally the board for recognizing them with some of those changes that you agreed to make. I think it's going to make a big difference for some people. So
Thank you.
Mr. Kish, anything? That brings it to me, and I have nothing further.
Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez.
I'd just like to wish the 2 retirees that we recognize tonight, well, thank yous and good luck in the future. And I'd like to wish our remaining fall sports teams that are still competing, good luck in their endeavors. And despite field hockey losing, I believe they still qualify for districts. So we still have other teams that might not be in the tournament that are now at the next level as well. So I wish them good luck too. Thank you.
Mr. Ricks.
Yes, congratulations to the retirees. Hope they enjoy their time away.
Mrs. Scheffler.
I would just say, reminding everyone, elections are coming up, and I don't know that, just a reminder, elections are coming up. I don't know that we meet as a board, right, before, no, we don't have a meeting before elections.
I think it's that day after.
Yeah, so just remember to head out to the polls and please vote.
Thank you. Mrs. Lister.
Just to thank the retirees for all the years of service. That's very impressive. And all those that are going above and beyond the district with the critical work shortage. And thank you for what you're doing to keep our kids in school and keep them safe and keep them learning. We appreciate that. And also just to the community members, because I know there was a question on how to access the information and not use social media. And the district does have that. It's under district on the website. That's how you find the health and safety guidelines. That's all hyperlinked to additional resources that are credible. And you can also go to your hospital networks websites. And the local media usually reports back on information that the hospitals provide on what we're seeing in the counties we serve. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Lister. Dr. Warfield.
I do have a comment I want to make, Mr. Delger. I hope it comes out correctly. It has been my experience over the last 4 years on this board that from time to time we're involved in very divisive and or controversial issues that really play out. And it has, if you go to social media, a lot of those times you'll find comment on social media that the ex-board member voted this way or said that because it's in their political interest or they want to stay on the board. So because I will not be on the board after next month, I think I can make this statement without being accused of pandering for any particular reason. But I think it's really worth noting that if you have followed this particular issue nationally, it's been harsh, it's been divisive, it has been threatened. At no point in time in this process have I felt any of that from our community. I think these folks, including most of, probably all the people who are sitting here tonight, have deeply held feelings about this mask order, and they have very deeply held feelings about how this board has reacted to it. But they have come here respectfully to express their opinions time and time again. And some of them have even decided to get involved in the political process to put themselves forward as taking the responsibility for solving some of these problems. So I just think that makes me proud to be part of this community, that we can have this kind of discourse and not be subjected to what has been going on, not only nationally, but in a lot of our local school districts where there has been disruption threatened. So I, one, as a school board member, want to thank you for the way you've all approached this, and certainly encourage you to stay involved in the process. Good wishes or good luck to the people who have decided to involve themselves in the electoral process itself. And that's, hopefully that came out.
Came out really well. Thank you very much.
Actually,
Mr. Batzinger.
I wasn't planning on saying this, but to build off of Doc's, what he just said, for those of you who are getting involved, and I think it's great to get involved. When I questioned when I did this, I did it for one particular reason. My eyes opened very quickly after I got on here. And there is a lot of work put in here. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of effort, and there's a lot of decisions, and they're hard decisions. So to piggyback off of what Doc said, I commend all of you who are willing to get involved, and it is a worthy cause, even though we don't get paid, and we spend a lot of hours doing it. So, and thank you for being understanding and cordial about these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Batzinger. Attorney Moyer, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, down to me. I want to make another mention of the National Principals Month that we are celebrating this month, and we are blessed with a group of people who occupy those positions here at Northwestern Lehigh in all of our buildings. Our principals and our assistants. Again, we are blessed, and we have an excellent staff that is always putting the students' needs and welfare as the top priority, and the education of their kids, and curriculum following, and all of the things that principals do to support the kids in our district. And thank you for that. And thank you all for your comments about our community. Very well said. Okay, That brings us to meeting announcements. I would like to call for a very short executive session for personnel immediately following this meeting tonight for personnel, very short. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fatsinger, second by Dr. Warfield. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming and sticking it out with us this evening.